This has always been the case, especially when we are heading towards COP. What exactly organizations like yours are going to do differently this time round to ensure that developed countries actually comply with this commitment that they are supposed to execute to ensure developing countries get the enough financing that they need to combat the impact of climate change, because we've seen calls in the past. But the most important thing is always the result that we need. But at the end of the day, after COP, we see different things happening. What are we going to see differently this time round? And how does Act 2025 propose G7 countries mobilize resources strategically to support ambitious and equitable climate outcomes?
I guess maybe I'll take a step back in the sense of the COPs can seem very repetitive. The COPs can seem, and the outcomes not very like they're giving much push towards big changes in the world. But the thing is, and the space of coming together at a multilateral level in this forum where each country, big or small, rich or poor, has an equal voice at the table. This time around, and I'm thinking particularly in the negotiations around the new climate finance goal, is that unlike before, with when the 100 billion goal was created, now every country is at the table and every country is putting forward and being part of the process. So the process in itself is quite different this year, where every country has a seat at the table and is ensuring that it's a shared endeavor in creating what this new climate finance goal is. So I would say that it's one, the process being different with everybody at the table is important, and also the fact that we the COPs and the outcomes of the COPs have made material difference over the years. And as incremental and as maybe simple phrases such as transition away from fossil fuels may seem to the outside world, they hold grave and important and material effect on the world and how the world responds to what leaders are saying at COPs. And the COPs in that sense are very important to signal to the rest of the world the direction in which the world needs to head. And the fact that before the Paris Agreement was agreed in 2015, the world was on track for reaching 4 degrees Celsius. With the Paris Agreement now in place, with countries putting forward their nationally determined contributions and ratcheting up their ambition every 5 years as part of the rhythm of the Paris Agreement, we're now on track more towards 2.5 to 2.8 degrees. Still not there, still not enough. But the process is important to keep countries accountable to these commitments and to ensure that as they proceed and as years pass, they adjust and realign themselves towards trajectories that are in line with 1.5 degrees and the goals of the Paris Agreement. And so what Act 2025 is doing particularly and doing differently is the essence of the negotiations is always at the heart of having negotiators and countries speak to one another instead of speaking past one another. And Act 2025 is trying to support in creating spaces for countries to come together to take themselves out of the formality of the negotiations and really find themselves at the same table, really going into what's at the heart of the issues and how can we support building bridges and finding landing zones to get to an agreement that is just and fair and ambitious all around. And I'm sure Alejandra has.
Yeah, no. I think you just answered the question. I would just say, before this year, the only basically the only thing that we did was just doing launching our call to action and making a couple of webinars. And because this year we see that it is very important to push big countries, in particular the G7, to come forward with something ambitious for this new goal. It is that we did the G7 open letter, and we are also planning to continue doing sort of soft diplomacy, let's call it, to try to talk to different actors, to talk more about precisely this letter, and as Gabriel was saying, to convene different stakeholders to try to have spaces where they can try to come together into the big questions that surround this new goal. And I would say, just to finish, that we are planning to be very pushy and very vigilant of how the process ends up, together with many different networks of CSOs and think tanks that we are part of. So Act 2025 is working together with other organizations and regions to try to really support the idea of how important it is to agree on an ambitious goal by COP29.